10 of the most interesting robberies in history. When we think of a bank robbery, we usually assume that it is a violent moment. An operation in which men dressed in black and in possession of pistols detain bank employees, at gunpoint. And they ask them for money. But since there are no limits to creativity and human intelligence, some thieves have already used really cool methods in carrying out thefts. That deserves to share her story. Here are 10 of the most interesting robberies in history, which you should take a look at. First, a man in his late 50s gained the trust of a banker in the Dutch city of Antwerp by periodically bringing chocolates to employees. As a beloved customer, he received a VIP permit, which gave him access to the lockers after the end of working hours. In 2007, he stole more than 120,000 carats of diamonds, which were worth $28 million, and disappeared. In 2007, a successful businessman visited Bank ABN AMRO in the city of Antwerp. For a year he was very friendly with the staff and often bought gifts and chocolates for them. Being a regular customer of the bank, he has become one of the trusted diamond dealers. He had access to the safe, because all trusted customers at ABN AMRO Diamond Center were given the keys to the lockers, so that its customers can access diamonds for extra late hours. In fact, no one knows his real name, but in the diamond trade, he was known as Carlos Hector Flumenbaum. The old man had carefully planned the robbery, and stole 120,000 diamonds, with a total value of $28 million. The next day, officials confirmed that he was using a stolen Argentine passport. The bank's diamond center has a $2 million security system, but it did not help stop the theft in any way. Flumenbaum went straight to the safe, where all the rough diamonds were stored using his passcode, to be able to penetrate it and leave the place with the loot. Later, authorities confirmed that he was using a false identity, because a passport with the same name he used was stolen in Israel only a few years ago. Secondly, a gang of thieves rented a place near a bank, and it pretended to be an artificial grass company. And they dug 80 meters deep into the ground for 3 months. To access the bank's safe, they stole $65 million worth of cash. This theft may only look real in movies, but it did take place in the northern city of Fortaleza, in Brazil. This robbery took place over the weekend. On August 6, 2005. It had not been discovered until Monday morning, because the bank was closed on holidays. The center that was robbed is a branch of the central bank in Fortaleza, in the state of Ceará in Brazil. According to neighbors, there were 6 to 10 men, who claimed to work for a company that makes artificial turf. They shipped large quantities of materials every day. The property they rented was on the opposite side of the bank. They dug under 2 apartment buildings, about 656 feet away. Their bodies were exhausted for 3 months. They looted about 20,000 pounds of money, worth $65 million. This was the largest bank robbery in Brazilian history. The investigation took a long time, but 13 suspects were arrested. 11% of the funds have been recovered so far. Thirdly, 2 men disguised as policemen stole 13 works of art. Its total value is $500 million. From the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, in Boston in 1990. On the morning of March 18, 1990, 13 beautiful works of art, by famous artists, were stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. The 2 thieves used a simple strategy, presenting themselves as policemen, and rushing inside the museum saying they were responding to a riot call. The 2 thieves first tied the guards and carried out the robbery within an hour. The paintings were some great works of art by artists. They are Rembrandt, Meunier, and Vermeer. The museum offered a $10 million reward to the person who would gather enough information, which would likely lead them to recover the paintings. This was the largest grant ever offered by a private foundation. Fourthly, a group of 6 friends robbed Dunbar Armored, a California money transfer company. They stole more than $18 million. This incident became the largest cash theft in the United States. On September 12, 1997, Dunbar Armada, a California money transfer company, was robbed by 6 friends. One of them was dismissed a day before the post of regional safety inspector, in the same company. This person knew every detail of the bank, including camera locations. The 6 men rushed on the 2 guards in the inventory, then quickly tied all the staff at gunpoint. Although they didn't even fire a single shot. In the next 30 minutes, they collected all the loot in a U-Haul transport truck and fled. The company is located on Mateo Street in Los Angeles. The total value of money stolen by the group was about $18 million at the time. That's now worth $30 million. And these are the names of thieves. Alan Pace III is the leader. With childhood friends Eric Damon Boyd, Eugene Lamar Hill Jr. and Freddie Lynn McCry Jr. and Terry Wayne Brown Sr., and Thomas Lee Johnson. The gang did a good job in terms of leaving no evidence. But anyway, the commander, Alan Pace III, was arrested. Who was the mastermind behind the whole plan? 2 years later, the mistake he made was clarified. He gave a bundle of money to a realtor. The package was wrapped in the original coin bar. The broker immediately called the police, and Alan was soon arrested. The man was sentenced to 24 years in prison. In 2001, other individuals were arrested after a while, and sentenced to prison terms for various periods. Fifthly, former Philippine President, Ferdinand Marcos, stole $10 billion in government funds. On April 23, 1986, the government of the Philippines found that the former president, Ferdinand Marcos, had stolen $860 million in government funds. The total loss of national funds has reached $10 billion since he was president, which began in November 1965. President Marcos and his wife, Imelda Marcos, fled to the United States the same year he was discovered. The man died on September 28, 1989. His wife, Imelda, returned to the Philippines 2 years later. Imelda was convicted of corruption in 1993. But after several trials, she was acquitted of all charges in October 1998. The event is recorded in the Guinness Book of Records as the greatest theft of a government. Sixthly, the Grand Train robbery occurred on August 8, 1963, on the bridge of the Bridge-o-Laidbourne Railway in the United Kingdom. The Royal Mile train, which was traveling from Glasgow to London, was robbed by a gang of 15 thieves. The total loot was $3.6 million. The planning of the robbery was meticulous. Someone from the inside was involved in the operation. He provided the gang with all the basic information. He was known as Ulsterman, and his original name was Patrick McKenna. The name of the gang leader is Bruce Reynolds. The stolen train was a Royal Mail train. It moves from Glasgow to London, on the main west coast. He was robbed on the Bridge-o Bridge Railway in Ledbourne, near Mayntamore. The gang members did not use any firearms, but they hit the train driver, Jack Mills, on the head with a metal object. The poor driver did not recover from the accident, and did not return to work again. Cash stolen has also not been recovered. The planning was so precise that they used numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. as pseudonyms to carry out the operation easily. Their 16th, defenseless collaborator, was a retired train driver. After taking the money off the train, the gang hid on the Leatherslid farm. The police soon discovered their locations by collecting all the evidence. Almost all members were arrested and convicted. The commander was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Seventhly, uninhabited church, 200 years old. In a remote area near the village of Komarovo, Russia. It was completely dismantled and transported within 2 months. The church was built near the village of Komarovo, since 1809. In an area 186 miles from Moscow. It has been completely abandoned by the people and the government. This gave the order the perfect opportunity for thieves to slowly dismantle the church, stone by stone, and rob it. Officials say she was in good condition, until July 2009. During a period of only 3 months, the only remains at the site were some standing walls and foundations. The thieves may have made a good amount by selling religious symbols and church structures, which are still considered useful for cladding purposes. Church officials were looking forward to resuming Mass soon, but thieves made the church disappear before they could even take the first step. Eighthly, $139 million worth of gold, coins and diamonds were stolen from a global commercial property at London Heathrow Airport. The famous incident is known as the Robbery of the Bronx is Dead. Saturday, November 26 at 6:40 a.m. a gang of 6 robbers broke into Brinks-Matt's warehouse. They managed to enter the warehouse bypassing the security system. As soon as they entered, they poured liters of gasoline on all the employees and asked them to set the numbers to open the safe. The thieves assured that they would not hesitate to light a match and set fire to all of them, unless they told them the numbers. While the thieves did not expect to find diamonds and gold with money, the majority of the amount of gold has never been recovered. But 2 of the criminals were convicted. The insurance company, Lloyd's London, paid all the losses. It was later found that the case caused several murders thereafter. It is also somehow linked to the robbery of safe deposits at Hatton Garden in April 2015. This robbery is so famous that it earned the nickname, Theft of the Century. Ninthly, an armed police officer in New Orleans tried to steal the money of a restaurant. In the process, she killed a policeman and 2 restaurant employees. She returned to the crime scene and pretended to investigate it, but it didn't work. Antoinette Renee Frank committed this crime in the company of a drug dealer and her lover, Rogers Lakes. The crime took place just after midnight on March 4, 1995, at a Vietnamese restaurant run by the Phu family. Ronald Williams, Frank's former teammate officer, was working as a new security guard at the scene when policewoman Frank appeared at the scene with the 2 men. Policewoman Frank shot Williams and other employees, but she did not find the 3rd person who hid inside the refrigerator. Frank returned to the restaurant after some time. She pretended to be investigating, but the 3rd survivor immediately recognized Frank. She told everyone she was a shooter. The criminals were indicted on April 28, 1995. They were sentenced to death. Tenthly, the largest robbery in Japan, worth 300 million yen, the equivalent of $2.75 million. It was carried out by a man posing as a police officer on the streets of Tokyo on December 10. By lying to 4 bank employees, their car in which they were transporting money was loaded with dynamite. When the staff ran for their lives, the policemen fled with the vehicle and the money inside. 4 employees from the Kokubunji branch of Nihon Shintaku Genko Bank were carrying bonuses to Toshiba factory workers. When a young uniformed police officer on a motorcycle stops the car, the policeman went to the 4 bankers and uttered a simple lie. Not only was the house of their branch manager blown up, but he told them that the police had received a report that dynamite had been planted under their car. The 4 men responded the way any ordinary person would after hearing such news, and got out of the car. The police officer bent down to pretend he was looking for dynamite. Smoke and flames came out from under the car. The police officer shouted that the explosion was about to happen and terrified employees began to flee. Then the policeman got in, sat in the driver's seat and drove off. The man left no evidence. Police have not been able to arrest anyone so far.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button